Like there are a couple of main questions asked in this long list of questions. One of them uh, is how did Pakistani media develop and how is it different from the beginning to now, whether it's free or not, and what should it do uh, to to be a good media system at the present, and also the question about ethics and working journalists and their conditions. So I'll just answer all these instead of going to these smaller questions that you have sent. First, Pakistani media developed out of a media system which was pre-partition. Uh, it had a controlled radio which is known as His Majesty's Voice, HMV, and All India Radio, and it had a free press which was anti-colonial. So when Pakistan came into being, the radio was not a problem, but the governments didn't like the print media, and they did everything to destroy and discredit it. It happened in the very beginning. So press and Pakistani ruling elite never had a good relationship because the ruling elite thought that they should be controlling everything and they had the right to rule the way the British had. Like the British left and now it's their prerogative to be the ruler of the country, and anybody questioning their authority should be punished. So they didn't intend to govern, whereas the media thought that it will help the government govern the people well and serve them well if it takes an adversary role. And there began the whole problem. So there were media laws that were restrictive and government actions like NPT, National Press Trust, and other things that happened. So the governments, irrespective of whether they were military or civil, they tried to muzzle the press. There are better and worse eras, like General Ziaul Haq is considered to be one of the worst dictators, and his media policy is criticized. Truly so. Imran Khan is amongst the worst when it comes to media. Not that Nawaz Sharif was better, but there was a brief period in the 90s when Senator Javed Jabbar was information minister. These brief 4 years were the freest 4 years in Pakistani history. But these 4 months, sorry, not 4 years. And these 4 months are the only exception in Pakistan where the government tried to have a good relationship with the media. Then comes the question, what is the difference between media then and now? Well, that's a very obvious difference on two levels. Like one, the rise of technology and globalization. Like you were printing a newspaper and then circulating it somewhere until the 80s, like 4-color printing came later. And then suddenly you have everything on your phone, like internet and online newspapers and everything. It's just under your thumb, as they call it. So enormous information coming in, and a reader or an audience is at a loss what to access and what not. So digitalization and also technology is a huge difference. And secondly, also until 1999, Pakistan had controlled electronic media. General Musharraf decided to allow private television and radio. Along with that came PAMRA too. But it's a huge leap because we have more than 100 private television channels, although they are not doing well right now, but they are really powerful and they just give information about anything that they wish to inform us about. And then there is the social media revolution, and then there people are blogging and TikToking and tweeting and YouTubing and all that stuff. Like it's really difficult to choose out of that. Then there is this question of of whether the Pakistani media is free. Now freedom is a very relative term, but we have certain yardsticks. One of those is Article 19 and 19A of the Pakistani Constitution, which is based upon the Article 19 of the UN Declaration for Human Rights. Now that ensures freedom of expression and journalism, and also access to information. 19A of the Pakistani Constitution ensures access to information. Now these things are not there. Any law that is in conflict with Article 19 of the Constitution, which is Article 19 of the UN Declaration of Human Rights, is wrong. And chief amongst them is basically PECA, the 2016 law, which Prevention of Electronic Crimes Act, which was passed by the Parliament, controversial, and it's in conflict with Article 19. So that if we look at media freedom and we gauge it in the light of the UN Declaration of Human Rights and the Pakistani Constitution, the media is not free. Like, instead of going into useless debates about some journalists say it's free or not, we can simply look at it from a legal perspective, from a constitutional and UN perspective, and we can decide that Pakistani media is not free because the government is not sincere in implementing its own constitution. So that's it. And then comes the question of what role is media playing? Like, there is no negative or positive role, basically. Again, there is the question of ethics with whether Pakistani journalists are professional and they follow the code of ethics. The answer is no, because they don't. The Pakistani press doesn't have a code of ethics. They didn't bother to develop a code of ethics in more than 70 years. Like, different newspaper or media organization will have their own one, but media as an institution doesn't have one. And it's very whimsical if some journalist or media institution decides to follow it or not, because there is no document. So unless and until this document is there, media role will always be criticized, because it's very subjective when somebody does something. But at the same time, had there not been any media, we won't, especially the audio-visual one, we won't be knowing about a lot of things that happen. Imagine things happening before 1999, when there was no private television. Nobody knew about that. The lawyers' movement, for example, which was known all over the globe because television covered it. And right now, the recent problem with Tehreek-e-Labbaik and their gatherings around the country, the mainstream journalists were afraid of going out, but social media was there. So we saw the videos and we saw what really happened. Otherwise, we would have never seen anything happening. Like, social media has also that role, that wherever, because individual journalists or reporting teams can't access because they were very obvious and clearly visible and people will go after them, they can just get some video clip to support their stories. They can do crowdsourcing, like they can just tweet and ask what happened, hashtag, and somebody will just send them a video clip and they said, this is what happened. And you can't deny basically audio-visual evidence, because faces are recognizable, places are recognizable, actions are obviously clear. So that's the thing. The journalists face a lot of challenges. We begin with job security. There is no job security in Pakistan. Then becomes threats to life and dignity. Nobody cares if somebody kills a journalist. Like, there are those news items coming in and on, but that's all that they have. And also, uh, it's there is no recourse. It's kind of even big media organizations don't give appointment letters. Like they just let you go one day, and Pakistan Federal Union of Journalists is not in a position to fight the uh, owners or decision makers. But there is another question also, because there is a lot of financial support that came to the media after 9/11. Like there are organizations which were getting 60% of their budget from USAID, and 60% means 150% of their budget. Many big news organizations just mushroomed out of nowhere because they got either the USAID funding or DFID funding, the British ones, and they just ran their business. They expanded it. And suddenly, after 2016, all of that dried because these were projects that State Department were running, and also with the help of DFID and all other countries chipping in, like Germany, GIZ, and Chinese, and even Russians pouring in money, and that dried. So, media organizations and journalists blame it on the government, but in fact, they were living beyond their means. They were getting money from outside. I'm not blaming them for doing this, but that's true. Like most of the financial losses are not because government has done anything to them, but because they didn't have the money. They earned money. The owners earned enormous amount of money, but they didn't. But they didn't bother to spend it on the working journalists. And now journalists are jobless. You are getting like Express, I think, laid off 300 or 500 people in one day, and it's huge. So that's the present condition. Uh, Pakistani media is in crisis. Every media system is in crisis around the globe. But here it's dangerous. Like it's really dangerous. Journalists being abducted, killed, forced to self-censorship, and then also being blamed for not being loyal, not being honest, which is true in some cases also. So if the media wishes to survive in the future, they have to really put their own house in order. Like this is no solution that if you are not saying anything in your television show and you lost it, you start YouTubing. All big journalists are YouTubing, which is good and bad at the same time. Like YouTubing is a very different business. Like, would you like to compete with TikTokers who are really good at that and they are funny? Would YouTube channels be a replacement for mainstream media? No, they can't be. You are just having halfway shops, which will lead you to nowhere. The only way out of this solution is this problem, this crisis is do good journalism. Like, decide to be unbiased, decide to be transparent, accessible, audience centered. Don't always look for money. Just try to do an honest story. And organizations who support doing good journalism. Opinion is your right, but there are limits to it. You can't just give an opinion praising somebody unconditionally or criticizing somebody shamelessly. That's not the way. You have to find a balance, and you have to understand the fact that mainstream journalism is important, because mainstream journalism is that institution in democracy which keeps a society transparent. And when there is transparency, then there is democracy. So unless and until you do your job right, we are not simply going to lose journalism, but also democracy. So that's the bigger issue, and we have to understand that.